on Cooking Time with Mary, molasses oatmeal bread. This is my favorite bread to make, and even though it takes 3 hours, there's a lot of downtime in there. For this recipe, you will need old-fashioned rolled oats, molasses, or if you're in the UK, black treacle. It's much better than molasses, but we don't have any in the US. Sad face. Unsalted butter, salt, 1 package of yeast, milk, bread flour, and water. Oh, and you need an egg yolk. Easy, right? Put 1 1/4 tablespoon butter in a saucepan, along with 3/4 cup of milk and 3/4 cups of water. Put that on low heat and stir it and bring to a boil. While the pan's heating up, put 1 cup of your oats in a bowl. Once you've brought that to a boil, carefully pour it in on top of the oats. You're going to stir this for about 30 minutes and help it cool off, because you don't want to kill the yeast, but you want it still to be lukewarm so that the yeast can have a little yeast party. Woohoo! Yeast party. This would be a perfect time to check Twitter, Facebook, Tumblr. I apologize to those of our viewers that are vegan, because this is definitely not a vegan bread, but it's really good. And you could probably substitute stuff, because you guys are really good at substituting stuff. It is lukewarm. Now, add 1 package of yeast. Add 1/4 cup of molasses or black treacle. Add 1 1/2 cups of flour. Crazy, actually adding the right amount of flour. Add 1 teaspoon of salt. I may look really awkward stirring, but it's because I'm holding this to keep it from making this noise. Add enough of the remaining flour until it forms a soft dough. And you're ready to knead. Take the rest of your flour and spread it out on your work surface. You can knead with a dough hook at this point if you have a mixer that has a dough hook and prefer to do it that way, but I like to knead by hand. It's very cathartic. Everyone has a different technique for kneading dough, but I like to use the chafing technique, which is push it out in front of you, fold it back over itself, and turn 90 degrees. And if it starts getting sticky on the top, just take some of the flour you have around and put on the top. You're going to knead for 10 minutes. If you see the bread start to not stick to itself, try not to add any more flour. 5 minutes in, the fatigue is wearing. So what are your favorite bread recipes? Leave them in comments. Also, what would you like me to do on the next Cooking Time with Mary? Pies, cookies, macaroons? Let me know in comments. Once the bread has been kneaded for 10 minutes, you just pop it in a clean greased bowl with some saran wrap on top that has also been greased, and take you an hour break. Yes, this is a good time to clean up because you've done most of the hard work. Okay, an hour's up. Now let's see how the dough is. It's so much bigger than it was. Now that that's all happy and fluffy, turn it out on a lightly floured surface and squish all the air out of it. Okay. Now we're going to separate it into 2 loaves, 1 for you and 1 for everyone else. If you want a round loaf, the best way to create it is by taking your hands under the dough and squishing them together and rotating it. It's a nice little round loaf. And we'll put that on a lightly floured baking sheet. There's your 2 little loaves. Then you cover them with a clean kitchen towel and let them rise for another 30 minutes. After those are covered, preheat your oven to 425 degrees. Now we want to mix up a little glaze for the top, so grab an egg and get you an egg white. Take a pinch of salt and mix that together. That's our glaze mixture. And make sure to keep a couple of extra oats we're going to sprinkle on top too. Let those loaves finish rising and then we'll glaze them in a minute. My loaves have risen nicely, and now it's time to take the salt and egg yolk mixture and brush the tops of them. Take some of your extra oats and sprinkle the top. There's my 2 loaves. They're about to go in the oven for 20 to 30 minutes or until golden brown, and when you tap the bottom they sound hollow. Here they are, fresh out of the oven. What do you think? Pretty? Yay, bread! Like, comment, subscribe, do all the things.